Podcast. I'm your host, it's Taco, like always. Got my boy Blaze, Money, and Mayhem joining me tonight.
Yo,
What's
yo.
going on?
What's up, everybody?
And today our topic is it's kind of an interesting one in my opinion. I think it's going to be a really good episode, but it's how do you view deities and things in your religion most of the time? Like physically, like do you think like God's a ghost? Do you think he's an archetype? Do you think, he's just a thought, whatever. So that's what we're going into today. Um, Whoever wants to start it off, I'll let one of you guys kick it off.
I say Money or Mayhem starts it off.
Yeah, one of you two guys. What
Yeah,
you
So
got,
what
man.
about
Mayhem?
you? Damn. All right, Money. Because I would
All
be
right.
kind of curious to hear what your guys' views are, what your thoughts on it are.
Faith or anything like that, but I feel like the way I look at God as a power constantly changes just from all the information that I receive.
Ghost? Do you think he's a physical person up in heaven? Do you think it's archetype? Like, how do you physically? What do you think God physically?
Down to the Christianity faith, I think we all know what they believe in. Jesus Christ was a person, was
Sure.
God in flesh.
That's not necessarily true. There is a denomination that believes that Jesus was God in the flesh. There's others that believe he was the Son of God, but Christian
Does
that's a common misunderstanding with Christianity. They don't all believe that Jesus Christ is God himself. Because how can he be God and sit at the right hand of the Father? And I'll even give you a verse that kind of goes along with that. I didn't mean for it to. But in Matthew 3:16 through 17, this is when Jesus was getting baptized by John the Baptist in the river. In this verse it says, "And Jesus, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove, and lighting upon him. And a low voice from heaven saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." So obviously Jesus and God are two separate things, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean there is that Christianity side that does believe. And in a sense he was, but I don't. He obviously had godlike abilities. He performed miracles, things like that. Myself personally, I believe Jesus was the Son of God.
And this is why I say that my views change a lot over the time because it's hard for me to just because I don't know because even in the Bible it says that doesn't it, or am I wrong? Doesn't it say that
It,
God
it does. It doesn't say what. Go ahead. Continue what you were saying.
that Jesus was God in flesh?
There is verses that say that, yeah. And then mainly referring to that because of his abilities that he had. And he even talks about in the Bible, I believe Jesus existed before he came to earth. Because in the Bible, I can look up the verse if need be, but it does talk about how his father loved him before he created the earth or something along those lines. So I even believe Jesus was in existence before he came to earth. So I would put Jesus kind of like up in like kind of like how you'd feel like a Saint Michael. Obviously way above Saint Michael, but I'm just talking about how in the beliefs, you got God, and then you got like you've heard of angels like Saint Michael. You know what I mean? The angels
I
were.
guess. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. So I mean, it's hard for me to answer this question. It really is because I think the way I would view God is just uh, powerful, bright light. That
Yeah, that's the Bible describes them like that a lot. Actually, in Exodus, you'll see a verse where it says that I'm not quoting it exactly, but it says that a man cannot see my face because he will surely die because of his holiness. So
Damn,
in
that's
your
deep as
earthly,
fuck.
yeah,
That's deep as fuck.
yes, yes. I actually give me a minute. I want to make sure I'm quoting that correctly. I know I am. It was Exodus 30. Give me a minute.
Give me 5 minutes. I want to look at something.
All right.
The way I view, yeah, go ahead, Tucker or Mayhem.
No, no,
While I'm
I
looking
was
this
gonna
up.
say, I was gonna ask Mayhem. So, um, you might or might not know how to answer this, Mayhem, but they were talking about like God being, I'm sorry, Jesus being the Son of God, and he's not God, but he kind of is. I know me and your dad talked briefly, and he's a Trinitarian. Is that kind of what they believe? I've never really got into Trinitarianism, so and you, I mean, you might honestly not know. I don't know how much if you follow Trinitarianism or how much you talk to your dad about that.
From what I got from him, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit are all the same thing.
Like equals or like the physical same being.
It depends on who you're talking to. Like there's arguments to be made on both fronts of that.
Okay.
Um, and that's kind of one of the things where kind of. And I'm not, when I'm saying isn't trying to take Jesus down from the pedestal that he's on.
No,
He
no,
did
no.
die for our sins. You
I'm
know what
not
I mean?
saying
You
you are.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
he
I'm not
did,
saying you are.
and that's not what I'm getting at. But what he's getting at is the Trinity. What you're talking about is believing in the God and Jesus were the ghost, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, yep.
And that's where his dad probably believes or preaches, or however you want to word it.
Okay.
That's probably what he teaches.
But he
I
does
got you. I
say
got you.
things that would refer to it as different, like beings, like God created
Yeah,
Jesus. They were the same
Mm-hmm.
person. Like he wouldn't need
I
to
got you.
create it, right?
but yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's how I view it too. So I believe your dad actually has one of a view like I do about it.
See, that's what I get from him. What I feel lately, personally, I feel like God is energy that runs through people's bodies and runs through everything. Oh,
Okay. Yeah, he
And I
must have lagged out.
I believe that's not far off at all.
but then I don't know if you guys have ever had a person tell you, like one of the people that were heavy on drugs or suicidal, and they say that God came to them.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And I always ask them, like, so you seen him? And like, I never get a direct answer. It's just, he came to me and took away everything. He took away my suicidal thoughts, even took away like people going through withdrawals, took away all the pain, the urges. They were a whole new fucking person.
Yeah. So, how do you view him? Do you think he's just an energy? So he's more of like a.
Yeah, I
And when you say
don't.
energy, are you thinking like a? I don't know how to try to say it. Like a ghost, like not like an external energy, or do you think it's more of like a
Like he,
archetype, which is like a an idea more or less, like
nah.
it's just like a shared symbol kind of thing. You know what I mean? Not I'm not saying idea like as in he's not real, but like it's a almost like a second subconscious kind of thing, if that makes sense.
I don't know. Like it's just in my head, I see it like no body, no face, just energy.
Yeah, it's just a light.
Gotcha. It's almost like a
I
ghost, if you will, kind of like.
like a
Not
spirit.
even
I
that.
think of it. It's like a spirit.
I mean, when
Yeah,
you say
yeah.
ghost, I think of like an outline of a ghost.
Well, I'm thinking like spirit, like you know, how, like you can feel, like say,
Yeah. Okay.
like you know, if you feel like, you know, they say like, babies are like, you know, susceptible to like ghosts and like seeing, you know, I'm
Yeah.
not talking so much like an apparition, but like a presence, you know, like, but it's still an external force and or being, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's in Genesis 1:2, it says the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the earth of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. I see, like, I think of it, like, I think Mayhem actually gave it a better description than I could have thought of put words into, like an energy. I think of him as a spirit, but how he's talking about it is how I would imagine it.
Yeah. That's what I think of God, and then I think Jesus is the physical form of it.
Okay, do you think he's still a physical form? I mean,
I think
obviously he's not, he's
Or,
dead, but like, do
no,
you think, I'll get into what I mean by that when I come around to my turn, and it'll make a lot more sense. And I think, like, at least to myself too. What's up?
um, not anymore. I don't think.
I'm looking back at
I
my social.
I think
Is
I
that what you
think
asked? Physical form?
I think he is in a sense that we just aren't taught how to look for it anymore.
So you
Okay.
think it's something you could see?
I think no, not see, but feel.
Mm.
Like an energy kind of. That's why I was going with what you were saying with the energy. You know,
Yeah.
I believe like God talks to us through gut feelings, or that that just that gut instinct, like something's wrong,
Yeah.
or something feels right, or you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Just that gut instinct
You know,
is how I feel.
I read a book one time, and every time you hear like something in your head that says something like, "I really should start working out," or "I really should probably quit smoking," or whatever that is, like whenever
Yeah.
you get premonitions or shit like that in your head, it's usually something else talking to you, whether that be your subconscious or whatever you believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, it's hard to decide whether or not it's God's voice or your voice. So you gotta be careful with that too.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to ask you though, Blaze, because you listened to that same interview as me where that fucking Billy Carson said that guy was an alien.
hmm
An
So,
alien?
so if you think about it, technically, like, it depends what your definition of an alien is, but mine is someone not from Earth. Wouldn't he technically be considered an alien? Like, I don't mean a little green guy in the sky.
I know what you mean. I mean, if you wanted to be technical, yeah, but I think the term aliens used, and I don't think it's used very well, but I think the term aliens used as a way to try to disprove God. Now, by definition, you're not wrong, but by how society feels about aliens and
Yeah,
how
Or
I know.
they perceive aliens, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying you're wrong at all, because obviously it would be something not, of
But I
this
mean,
earth,
at the same time, he created the earth, so he can't not be of it.
right?
So I mean, I don't know. It gets kind of tricky.
I think that's one of the
Yeah.
things that doesn't necessarily matter whether you consider them
Yeah,
an
no.
alien or not. You know what I mean? When it really
Yeah.
comes down to it, that's just one of them small arguments used against what we believe.
Is that what he was saying though? Like he's like literally like a little three-fingered guy.
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. I didn't catch his whole explanation on that.
I mean, neither.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. I don't think that's. I mean, obviously I'm not a Christian, but I I don't think that's a right. I don't believe that either because that'd be to me that's like saying like sake argument like saying God's Chinese. Like yeah, he's not from America kind of thing. Like he's not. I don't think he's a
Exactly.
physical like alien.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Like I don't know. That just seems like
And
a stretch for
The way I
anything,
thought of it
honestly.
was anything not human is pretty
Yeah.
much ET,
yeah,
alien.
yeah, and I get what you're saying there. I do. By definition, yeah, and you're not
Yeah.
wrong with that. Now I do want to say this because I quoted this verse without the verse in front of me, but I wanted to make sure I got it right because of what it said. It was Exodus 33:20. It said he said, "Thou cannot see my face, for there shall no man see me and live." And he's
What's
actually
that
talking
mean?
about
You can only see him if
it's
you're dire.
that's pretty much.
Well, that's
Or
like to
And
back when. Oh, go ahead. I'm
even
sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, even when he appeared, because that's him talking to Moses. And even when he appeared to Moses, he appeared as a burning bush, something Moses had seen, but would have seen before, something on fire.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I mean, even when he did appear to Moses, he appeared in his, I don't know how to say it, like his holiest of forms, I guess.
Right.
You know, like him at the throne kind of form.
So when you
Yeah.
go to heaven, is that what you think you're gonna see? Like an actual person sitting in the chair?
You know, based on how it's described in the Bible, yes. But if you're being honest, I have no idea what it's going to be like. I can only imagine. But yeah, but how it's described in the Bible, yeah. But that's a
He's
tough
been
one to
invited to the
answer.
facility.
And if that's what you think, do you think he's gonna look like what people present as him like today, like long hair, beard, blue eyes?
No,
No, that's not the way he's described even in the Bible.
I'm talking
no.
about
He's
like
never. He's never. He's never just
pictures
like.
you
There's
see.
never. Yeah,
They
but
don't
no. I don't
describe him
think.
at all, do they?
No, they don't. They did. God's been described as either a light, fire.
And actually, I'm bugging.
Um,
That's not God. That's supposed to be Jesus.
Jesus. Yeah, and that even. I mean, obviously Jesus wasn't white, so I mean, I don't like the whole pictures. Like, if I'm going to a church, I
Yeah,
don't
me
want the
neither.
church to have a picture of Jesus. I don't want a church at all. I don't care what color he is. I don't. That's against one of the Ten Commandments. In the way I see things, creating a false idol. Because if you think about it, what we believe, it's spiritual. And there was even a verse I had. What was it? Give me a minute. 1 minute. John 4:24 says, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So it's not like a physical thing you worship, it's a spiritual thing. It's an energy.
Yeah.
I think so. Listen, I know this sounds crazy, but I think it's a lot of the reasons why some of these tribes and shit from all around the world do like ayahuasca and they do all kinds of crazy stuff because that stuff gets you spiritually connected with whatever's out there. For some reason or whatever, one way or another, you're getting connected with some sort of spiritual force.
You guys all
And
seen Avatar, right?
yeah.
You remember when like they would sit in front of that tree and pray and like everything would light up?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I mean by energy.
Right.
Like something that I feel like when people go to church and worshiping, the
Bringing that
energy like
energy.
gets brighter or stronger.
Hmm.
Well, it says in the Bible that anytime three or more are gathered in my name, I
Yeah.
am there.
Yep. Yep. Doesn't have to be a church. But a church is a good example of where that energy would be what he's talking about. Just a good
Yeah.
example of where you might feel that kind of energy. What about you, Taco?
You have to bear with me. Xander woke up from his
You're
nap,
good.
and
You're
the
good. You're
wife's still
good.
sick as hell. So,
No, you're good.
so mine's gonna be a little bit interesting, and I do expect a lot of questions because it's gonna be kind of all over the fucking place. So the main groups I have down for things in my religion, I have like there's monsters, there's Jotun, which are like giants, then there's animals, and then people, and what I have for others. So in general, overall, I think, put down, buddy. Um, Everything I think is very it's a presence, like as in a spirit, but it's a stationary spirit. And what I mean by that is like it's I'm trying to think how to even explain it. Like if you picture like a ball of dust, if you will, or a ball of light, it's physically there, but it's not a physical being. And I do think everything can manifest itself. So, for example, we'll go into some of the monsters, like Yermungandr. And so what he is he's called the World Serpent, the King of Snakes, whatever, however, there's lots of names. And he is thought to be like a sea monster. more or less. So he's like a wingless dragon, a giant snake, and he's trapped um, around the world biting his own tail. So I think there's like a physical presence, that's resembles and that is Jormungandr. He's his own thing, but I feel like he can still like communicate telepathically, kind of thing. And I believe that pretty much for all of the what I have as labeled as monsters. Sorry about the background noise again. That's Nidhogg, Fenrir, Sleipnir, stuff like that. I believe they're all physical presences that can influence our lives, but not so much like be there, if that makes sense. And then like the gods and goddesses, I think are the same thing. It's like a spirit, but they can manifest themselves because there's been stories of people seeing Odin, for instance, is like the big one, and I believe he's depicted as an old wizard, with one eye, a big wide brim hat. Go ahead.
No. Oh no, I coughed.
Oh.
My bad.
Oh.
I was actually gonna say I've seen videos of people that's talking about it though. What you're
Yeah.
talking, like seeing them out in the
Can I-
woods.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely you can.
Do you guys think that it's possible that everything we like, all the beliefs and
Okay.
all the religions out there are to some extent in every way, shape, or form real in everybody's own way? Do you see what I'm saying? Like there's nothing wrong
Yeah,
and
that's-
there's nothing
I
right.
do.
That's called spirituality.
I do, and I don't think that's true. I don't mean no disrespect by that, but I don't.
No. That's fine.
I get what you're saying. I
I
just
just think I was just something.
I thought-
So, me and Blaze actually did an episode on that. You can go on same channel this is on back when we were finding the path. It's about divine mother and father, and to the more advanced, like what you were saying, deeper into that same belief and ideology is that it's in spirituality, and everything is divided, or everything can be broken down into divine light or divine dark. So there's a good and evil force in the world, and everything, all religions, everything can be broken down to a simplest form of being either evil or good. So that's something really interesting to look into if you want to dive deeper into that. With that being said, yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I like having these conversations, man, because every time you guys say something and respond to me like that, man, I just have more shit I want to fucking say. And I feel like I could just go on for hours and hours with this shit.
Yeah, it's great topics to have conversations about when all people are when everybody's engaged in it. Because you're right, it can go on and on and on and on.
Yeah, for sure.
What I thought you were going to say, Money, was that all these religions are all the same story, but along the way got mixed up a bit, and then people just pick the one they like best. Because a lot of the shit I hear Taco say about his religion is in the Bible too, just described a little bit differently.
A lot of religions out there. There's a lot of religions out there that I believe most of them have some kind of story of a big flood too.
Isn't the Quran like literally almost the exact same thing as?
And
the
here's
Bible?
here's the difference between Christianity, Judaism, and Muslims. So Abraham had two sons. Oh my gosh, give me a second. I don't want to get the names wrong. One moment, chat.
I can't remember. Cable, maybe? Please tell me that was one of them.
Give me a minute, I'll have it. I can't believe I'm brain farting it. Ishmael and Isaac. Okay, so Abraham wanted to have, so Abraham and his wife Sarah and this group of people go down to this land of Canaan. And so God appears to Sarah saying that she would bear a child and they should name him Isaac. Right? And so, but Abraham's wife was old and she thought maybe it was just kind of a dream. She didn't really believe it. So she told Abraham to basically go sleep with her maid, who was a younger woman. And because she didn't think she could have a baby, and she wanted God's wishes to be fulfilled. So he did. He went and slept with her. And she bared a son, and his name was Ishmael. So it was believed that Ishmael was supposed to be inheriting God's covenant with Abraham, that God made with Abraham. So a little bit longer goes down the line, and then Sarah ends up getting pregnant, like the angel had said. Named him Isaac. So then it became more of like a forced thing with Sarah, where Abraham had to choose which son was going to be the rightful owner of God's covenant with Abraham. And Abraham actually sent Ishmael and his mom away from the group and kept Isaac. And in the Bible it says, that Isaac was the inheritant of God's covenant with Abraham. Muslims believe it belonged to Ishmael instead of Isaac. That's the difference.
He was the older son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was the first son, but Christians and Jews believe that it was Isaac because the angel said that Sarah would bear the son.
So, nobody knows what the fuck. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really what it is. Nobody really knows what the fuck's going on.
Nobody ever will. So they're gone.
Yeah.
Do you guys believe any of the stories about when people die and go and see like God and all that shit and come back?
I don't know. I believe there's probably some truth to that. It just kind of depends. I think there's a little bit of both. I think some people may do it for attention, and there may be some people that's truthfully honest about it. It's kind of a strange thing too, because that really is the big what if in life, or what up. Everybody has that question: what happens after you die?
Yeah.
And no matter what you believe, until you actually experience it.
I've heard stories in books, even that happened to people, and when they came back, they had I guess special powers. Like I read a book, I guess this guy could read minds, and he did go out and prove it. Like used a bunch of people and proved that he could read minds.
Did something happen to him prior before he was able to do that? Did he get
He got struck by lightning. Died.
Okay, now this is like a whole motherfucking branch of conversation that we can go down because
I'm with it.
I believe that the brain holds shit within you already that we just haven't evolved to the point to I feel like every species that is made is already set for a point of evolution that they can get to and that they will stop at, or it's either they'll make it to that point or they'll die along the way, whatever, but they have a set evolution point that they will get to, like a final destination type shit.
I believe you're right about that, because even in the Bible, Jesus says, I can't remember the exact verse, but he says, you've seen all the miracles and things I performed, but I'm here. I tell you that you will do greater things than me. You are capable of doing greater things than me. And Jesus, made people, that were paralyzed be able to walk, cured diseases, brought somebody back from the dead, things like that. So, I mean, I don't think you're too far-fetched with that theory, with the human brain having more capabilities than we can tap into.
Yeah, I think at some point, I also kind of believe over the years if movies have been released with aliens and stuff, like some of this shit gets drip fed that we just don't pay attention to, like being able to fucking heal each other with our hands on our energy and shit, all types of stuff. Just being able to do shit that Jesus said he was able to do, just once we get to that point in evolution. Not walk on water and shit like that.
No. But I believe I believe it's a spiritual, from based off what I believe it's a spiritual level, where how are you able, how spiritually and holy can you be? And that's not even just necessarily like how good's your connection with God. Basically, is all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
How aligned with God are you? Has an effect on that, I believe. Because in order to be really aligned with God, you have to be spiritually tuned. And I imagine that in order to tap into things like that, you'd probably have to be spiritually in tuned.
What do you think these people that are like that live out in tribes and shit that like never meet outside life, that like when the airplane flies over them they're shooting at it with arrows type
They're
shit,
more in tune than
right?
us.
But in tune to what? And what would you
The
call that
environment,
really?
their
Their
environment, their
environment can, I
environment,
think, with God.
spiritually connected. Yeah.
They don't have as much distractions as we do.
Hmm.
They don't got an iPhone to look at fucking 20 hours out the day. They don't got a
But
TV.
they would never know what Jesus or God was. That would never be a thing. They wouldn't know what that is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, God speaks in different levels,
Jesus
though.
didn't
God's for
come
everybody.
to us through cell phones or internet. That
Yeah.
shit was
Yeah.
way back.
I don't know. I'm just. I guess I'm just thinking about.
I don't think I get what you're saying because you're taking it from the aspect, you know, they never knew about it, so how could they?
Why wouldn't they know about it though?
Exactly, that's where I'm getting with it. I feel like just because we think it wasn't communicated with them in the same way it was, I mean, maybe it's communicated to them differently. Because, like Mayhem was saying, they're more spiritually in tune. I mean, how you get there isn't exactly the point. It's just the getting there to what how you're supposed to be as a human being, as far as morals, things like that.
Yeah, I guess when what I'm trying to say is I think that when we think about it, it's gone too far with um social constructs and what humans have done to it, so we'll never truly know like what the stuff is really meant to say to us because a lot of stuff is missing. So them living out there and being as spiritually in tune with it, they're far more advanced than we will probably ever be.
Yeah. We don't think of
Yeah, I
them
think
as
so.
advanced. I believe you're right. We don't think of them as advanced because of like society, how society's, you know, more their standard is on that. But spiritually, I think they're far more advanced than we are. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just because, like what Mayhem was saying, you know, they don't got all these distractions that we got.
So I'm a back up a little bit here. I had a couple things I pinned in my mental notes there.
Get it? Let's hear it.
Money with the whole evolution thing, isn't that um kind of contradictive?
You know, I don't think so, man. Like, what is so contradictory? What, even if I do believe in God or Jesus, and what would stop animals from adapting
Contradicted
to
to
their
what?
surroundings and fucking it?
To being like a creationist over evolutionist.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like because if you believe in evolution, that means that you entertain the
The-
thought that we weren't created by God. We were evolved from fish and monkeys, and then that goes into the whole
How about how
scientific
could
thing.
I
They
don't
were
think you could
created.
say that because
Well,
even
that's what I'm
as
just
man,
asking.
even as man was created in a garden, right? There was no
Okay,
buildings. Man
I didn't
created
say
that.
we didn't get smarter, but the whole
But
I don't know.
it's just it's the same concept, man.
I mean, I see what
It's
he's asking. I see what you're asking. How
he's
would
not
you
what
say
Money's saying
evolved?
isn't saying that we came from monkeys. No,
Okay,
that's not what
okay.
Money's saying. I really
Well,
think Money was getting more
that's
on
why I
like
was
us
asking that. 'Cause I was like, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't
because
right.
what he was getting at more, I believe, was with the brain and its capabilities of tapping into things that we don't, you know, like he's talking about. Like, you know, you hear all these stories and these people in these other countries doing these crazy things. I mean, it's worth a thought. You know, we never
I
how,
got you. I got you.
and that's where I was getting with it's how it's a spiritual level to me on your ability to tap into those things. How spiritually in tuned are you?
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
believe that's what. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Money, but you were getting more into that line of like evolving into where we're able to tap into those kind of things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at some point.
We're We're way off topic here, but I really don't even give a crap. Like we're gonna keep
It's
rolling
it's a
wherever
good
it goes. I
conversation.
really
That's a good
we're just
conversation.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is
We're
it.
yeah.
just
It's a
going.
good. That's how it starts. Right? Yeah.
No, but I 100% agree with what you guys are saying. Like, with me being a pagan, like it's very um based on like, putting, what you put into the earth, you'll get back, and it's super super based in like nature and like connecting with your environment and having, building and creating these spiritual connections with these different deities and different, figures, whether that be like for instance, like Odin's ravens, Hugin and Mugen, or Hounin and Maunin, if you want to pronounce it technically. Like they're not necessarily, at least I'm going to say I don't view them as that, because there might be some that do view them as that. I don't view them as a deity themselves, but I feel like I have a relation with them, and it's a very, almost like I'd say a physical relation, because like I was saying earlier with Odin, stories of him being like physically, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Manifesting himself in a physical form. I believe. This ain't there. Hold down, buddy. Daddy's talking.
He said, "No, no, hold up. I got something to say."
But I think with Odin's Ravens, I really do. Stop it, buddy. I feel like I've had a physical connection because I see like not so much ravens but crows, blackbirds, appear in doubles all the time. So like if I'm like having, if I open up my altar and like I have a little, in-home ritual and I'm asking Odin for things and like praying or however you want to label it, and I say, Odin, give me a sign that you've heard my call. And I'll like walk outside, let the dogs out, and like there ain't crows nowhere. Like I live in the city, boys. Like not like New York City crazy, but like I live in the city, and there is not like no birds. Like I get like robins. That's about it. But I'll go outside and there'd be two crows sitting on the power line staring at me as I walk out of the house. And like I kind of like say to myself like, is this your sign, Odin? Like is this your ravens you sent to me? And they'll fly over closer to my house and be like staring at me. It's just like weird, call them coincidences, but it's happened more times than I can count. Stuff like that, or so I forgot where I was even going with. Oh, so building like those spiritual connections with deities and different aspects of your religion. I completely agree. I feel um, way more spiritually alive and aware back to when I was practicing Christianity. But that's just my personal beliefs and reasons. So I agree with you guys. So, that's overall what I was saying. I hyper explained me saying I agree, but
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I believe the same way, even though my beliefs are different than yours. I believe you being, spiritually in tune can be things you notice in things like that, like or maybe even the wind, like a change in the wind.
yeah.
If you're thinking about something.
I mean, I don't know if you guys ever had that happen. Like, you guys like, I don't know. We'll take an example. We'll say you're driving to work in your car, and like you're like, man, I'm having a really shit day. I just really could use a sign, Jesus. And like you said, like I've seen like beam of light. Like I've had people. I shouldn't say I've seen because I've never personally seen it, but like my pastors preached about that exact thing I was saying. It's like I'm on my way to my 9 to 5, and it's just a really crappy day. I'm feeling down, and I just kind of like thought to myself, give me a sign, God, that stuff's gonna be better. And then he said he's seen a beam of light break through the clouds right in front of his car.
Yeah,
Like stuff like that.
yeah,
Like
yes, exactly.
shit like that is just so cool to me. Like I
Hmm.
never had really
Yeah,
anything happen like when I was practicing Christianity do that, but tomato tomato, same thing.
right, right.
So but to backtrack a little bit, and I feel like it's kind of a similar question for both of us. But how do you guys view angels? Like, do you think they're um I don't want to say a holy thing because obviously they're a thing, but don't know. I don't know what
I
I'm trying to
believe.
say. Do you feel like they're like they come to you and physically, speak to you on behalf of Jesus, or do you think it's just kind of like a messenger of God kind of thing?
I think angels are people just like you and I that do good deeds for other, just people that bring happiness. You can never
Hmm.
know. You could go be at the fucking grocery store and somebody buy your groceries, and
That just
that
happened to me
person.
like not a week ago.
Yeah, and then you'll never see that person ever again for the rest of your fucking life, like they never existed.
Yep.
Bro, I'll tell you a
So,
crazy ass story, short story. My godmother, she's pretty old. She was driving through a crazy ass snowstorm. She couldn't see nothing in front of her. So I guess she pulled over and or no, there was a hitchhiker inside the road and she was like, I mean, I know this is dangerous, but it's bad weather out here. I'm gonna take a chance to help this guy out. So she picked him up. The guy was able to direct her to like look out his window and tell her where to go so she would be safe driving. She gets to the destination. The guy gets out. She gets out of her car to say bye or something, thank you, and there was nobody there. She swears it was an angel.
Yeah. See, I've heard stories like that. Not exactly like that, but you know what I mean. Something along those lines. Yeah. Like some person coming along and then just disappearing.
I got
I've
something. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I even think angels can be something to be testing you. Like it could be the homeless guy coming up asking you for a few bucks.
Mm. Okay. It's like a little like,
Now, do
what
you
kind of
think?
person you gonna be today, Blaze?
I'm not saying it's every day, but
Yeah.
it's
No,
I'm
I'm
not
not
saying it's
saying
every
like.
time. I'm not saying, but you never know with that. You know what I mean? That could be God
Hmm.
testing. Right? How giving is he? He says he's of me, but how of me is he?
I
Do you think that
also
guy's always an angel though, or an angel comes into him for a certain amount of time?
That's a tough one, brother.
That's how I
That's a
think
tough
of
one.
it. I think they might
That's a tough
use
one.
someone's body.
Yeah.
I think they might have some sort of persuasion. I don't think that they would necessarily take over
I think that's
somebody's
what he's getting
body.
at. I think that's
Yeah,
what he's getting at. Yeah, like there's a reason like he
Yeah,
looked at you and felt comfortable enough to come up and ask you.
yeah.
Or or it even could even be that person that's just going through a rough time, having a rough
Bro,
day. And you ever had a random person vent to you their whole life story? Like just
Once a
randomly in
week
the
I do it
public? I mean
to you guys.
well, I mean just like you're just
No,
like
no,
you
I
happen to
know,
be
I know what you're saying.
like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
standing outside a convenience store or something for whatever reason, and then some guy come walking up and a small little conversation starts. It turns into him just venting. You never had
Yeah,
that?
no, for sure,
I,
for sure,
I
I
was
yeah.
have.
just gonna say, man, like, look at how we all came together, bro. We all live so far apart from each other, and you guys are like my best friends. I tell everybody that like you guys took care of me when I needed you guys the most in my real life, bro. Like you guys didn't leave me hanging. Like whenever I needed something, I knew I could call you guys, and that you guys would not judge me. You wouldn't put me down, and you would just be there for me. Like, and it's all from this, from a game.
They do
And I
say
think,
they do say that the guy, like your friends you meet on video games, are some of the most sincere, honest friends you'll ever meet. And whether that's like you just said, money. Like I don't know. I mean, I know your real name, but I don't know who money is in real life. I don't know. I only know what you choose to tell me. So it's literally a clean blank slate. And I agree with you 100%. One of my best friends, we don't talk anymore. He used to be my best friend. His name was Matt, and he's from Massachusetts. And I met him online, and like it's such a judgment-free thing. And like like I say, I only know what you choose to tell me. So like, there's nothing for me to judge you on. You're just money. That's who you are to me. And I'm here to listen to you just like I know you'll listen to me because you have nothing on me to judge me unless I tell you. And I think I agree. Like I'm just saying, that's you meet some of the most sincere, honest people. Um, through video games, and it baffles my mind. I've thought about that exact same thing multiple times.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So, while we're on the topic of angels,
yeah,
just kind of like, well, I mean, you can see this in a lot of different ways, but the Joplin tornado, the big documentary on Netflix, there's a part of that whole Joplin situation that didn't get talked about in that documentary, but they're called the butterfly people, and it's these kids that took a direct hit from that tornado, it hit them square on, and they described butterfly people actually protected them from debris and carrying away people that passed away or close to passed away, kind of thing.
Butterfly people.
Google it. There's a whole story about it, and they all say the same thing.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's just pretty crazy.
They say that angels really look like kind of scary looking.
Yeah, they're described in more than one way, but yeah, no, you're right. And Daniel talks about, or no, it's Isaiah actually, I believe, where he talks about it having four heads. Yeah, there is angels that would actually probably scare you. It's actually quite common in the Bible. One of the first things an angel says after they appear to somebody is "Fear not." So you know what I mean,
But wouldn't that go into the whole being able to manifest yourselves and having these holy creatures? Either way, for paganism or Christianity, you're not going to appear as these crazy looking monsters, for last of a better,
that's what I was getting at.
To kids. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Butterfly people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I was getting at. Is I believe angels can take many forms. Yes, there's angels like Money was talking about how they look scarier than anything. But I believe that they can take many forms. The Bible does describe different types of angels. Y'all there?
Yes.
Yeah. I was muted. Sorry.
I mean, me and Taco actually did an episode where I actually talked about there's different types of angels. Coming like Saint Michael, that's an angel you hear often in the Bible. That's not the same thing as a cherubim. The thing that Money would be talking about, the thing that would be looking more scary.
Yeah.
Don't it look like a
if you want me to, I'll look up the exact verse.
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
I feel like they look like a feather, like a bunch of just feathers and eyes.
Yeah.
That's the way I heard it described or something. I don't know.
See, when I was practicing Christianity, I almost thought that they looked like, exactly how Valkyries are described in heathenry, and that's, I guess you could say that's like the same, who are you radioing? Sorry.
Yeah, just give me a minute, boys. I'm just stall for me.
Sorry, this kids drive me nuts.
The fucking radio, that's hilarious.
Yeah. But like a Valkyrie, for instance, in heathenry, is they're warrior maidens. They're always female, and they're big winged, warrior maidens that collect people from the battlefield for Odin after they die in battle.
Yeah, I think I know what he's talking about.
So there's one here I found. There's not the one I was looking for, but it's describing a seraphins. Seraphim, it says above it stood the seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. Twain mean 2. And one cried unto the other, and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of the hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. That's not the one I was looking for. So give me a minute. I'm gonna keep looking, but that's just one type of angel described in the Bible. And what was the other one? Ezekiel. Give me a minute. Okay, I think it's Ezekiel 9:4. I think I got it. Give me a minute. Where's it? Let's see. Ezekiel 9:4. No. No. Dang it. Give me a minute. Stall for me, boys.
Oh, I think I know what he was talking about. Go ahead, tell him, Xander. You should let him speak his mind. He was about to speak some facts.
Yeah, if either of you guys got anything, I don't really have anything
Yeah,
right now.
I'm having a hard time finding it. But it talks about the angel having 4 heads, one of a lion, one of a man, one of a bear, and I can't remember what the fourth one is. That's why I wanted to look the verse up. But yeah, there's lots of different. Or was it Daniel? That's why I'm not finding.
Which book in the Bible is it where the dude is it? What is it?
I got it. I think it's Daniel 7 is what I'm looking for. Give me a minute. Yep, it's gonna be Daniel 7. Oh, Daniel 7. Where is it? In here somewhere. Let's see. What were you gonna say, Money? The book of what?
Uh, where if he cuts his hair off, he loses his power.
Oh, that's Samuel. Samson. That's Samson. He was had the strength of a god basically, with because he was a man, a godly man, and then a woman cut off his hair, and that was what had him in touch with God with his hair. God told him not to cut his hair, and then he cut his hair and lost all his strength, and then gained it back when he turned to God for help. When they basically were trying to arrest him. He was with a woman that they didn't want him to be with.
There's a lot of weird stuff that went on back then, man.
Yeah. Where is it? Well, I guess I'm not finding it here either. I'll have to get back to you on that one. But I mean, really, even if I found it, really the explanation is the same. There's many different ways. There's different types of angels, and they're described differently. It's not one certain thing. I don't believe.
Well, I don't think so neither. Especially if
Right,
they can
right.
come in different shapes and forms and stuff like that.
I just really wanted to find that verse. I'm going to have to dig a little deeper into that when I got more time, just so I can show it to you at least, because you brought it up. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm looking in all the wrong places, though.
Well, with that being said, we're getting close to our hour here. So, has anybody got any final questions or statements they want to get out there?
No, sir.
No, I don't.
Everybody good?
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
good.
Well, I guess we'll cut it off there if everybody's good. And I just want to apologize again to everybody with my background noise. Like I said, got stuff going on.
Let him speak his mind, man.
No, you got a problem with it? Catch me outside. That's all I'm saying.
But thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks you guys for taking time out of your day, coming in here and do this with me. And see you guys next Tuesday or Wednesday. I guess we can switch it up. We'll do whatever day works best. So I mean, if you are a viewer of the show and you like watching it, just keep an eye out. Tuesdays or Wednesdays around 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Um, we'll be here. With all that said, I'm Taco. It's Mayhem, Money, and Blaze. We're out of here.
Sir. Late.